Hey everyone, welcome back to How to Be a Poser. Today we've asked to be introduced to the sommelier with the help of the John Wick 6-scale figure by Hot Toys from John Wick Chapter 2. Let's get started. All right, here he is, John Wick from John Wick Chapter 2. Still in his box, exactly the way it's going to come to you. Look at this huge assortment of accessories that he comes with. An arsenal of weaponry, a wide assortment of coins, a blood oath marker, and so many hands. Can't wait to see what I can do with all of this, so let's get rolling. All right, here he is, John Wick from John Wick Chapter 2. Been waiting a long time to get my hands on one of these figures, and now I've done it. For the sake of this first pose, I wanted to start with this weapon. The AR-15, 11.5 inch, compensated with an ion bonded bolt carrier and Trijicon AccuPoint sights in 1/6 magnification. Pretty much my favorite gun from the movie. There are two right-hand pistol grips that come with this figure. This one right here, I think, is better for pistols. This one right here with the extended index finger is the one that you're going to want to use with the AR-15. So let me just drop that in this hand here really quick. Look at that, each finger perfectly forms. Next, let's remove this hand and pop this guy into place. I should note that you don't necessarily need to put the gun in the hand first. The fingers on this figure are pliable enough that you can just go ahead and put the hand in first and then slip the gun in with ease. Next, the front grip hand is this guy right here, nice and rounded to slip over that. Now this is one of those situations where you can probably benefit from warming the hands using a hair dryer, hot water, heat gun on a really low temperature setting. Definitely something you might want to consider when messing with hands that are having a difficult time slipping onto the wrist pegs. Go ahead and bring this up. Now this is just going to be rough. I'm roughing this out. Because this head exists on a solid neck, it's not double jointed. I'm going to have to really work with this gun to get it into the ideal position. I can't cheat and compensate with head placement. Let's see if I have this wrist peg where it needs to be. Yeah, that's in a pretty good place. I may need to adjust that here in a second though, and yeah, I am. Let's rotate that around and swivel it up. Okay, there's two different sights on this gun, and I think that what I want to do is I want to have him sighting down this side over here, not through the scope, but through the close, like the one that you would use for more close quarters combat. So let's swivel this arm up just a bit more, raise his arm up. Again, in small increments, taking time to twist the jacket back around so that it's not doing anything just really obnoxious. So that's where it needs to be. I'm gonna bring this arm up. Oop. Notice how that happened, isn't that curious? When I squeezed this body, it allowed some tension to be placed right here, and that made the arm bounce out. That's just something that can happen. Anytime that you're working with a 6-scale figure, you run the risk, it's just kind of in the nature of the beast that one movement of a particular limb, and look how that's happening there with this jacket, is going to create a counter movement in another limb. Again, just the nature of the beast, count on it happening, and just plan to adjust. I'm going to go ahead and slide this down there. All right, so together I'm going to raise both arms, and because of all the clothing here that John is wearing, it's a bit of a struggle to get it up as high as I want it to be. Just needed a little bit more of a move on that wrist. See how it actually came over the top of the arm? That's interesting. I've never done that with a 6-scale figure before, but that's what it took to get that gun to the level that I really wanted it to be. Pushed it too far. That can happen. Okay, so just slowly get it back in there. So this is just going to be a slow, somewhat painful process to find the balance between where his eye is going to be aiming down the scope, and I think I just got it. That's close enough. Let me just rotate that around.
I think that works really, really well from where I am, but I'm pretty close to the figure. Sometimes as you get further back from the figure, you notice things about a pose and about the placement of things that you didn't notice before. But, and I may adjust this later, but for now, I'm right where I want to be, except for one thing. Now, because I'm me, what I've done here is I have forgotten to put the strap over John's shoulder. I think the best way to make that happen is to employ a feature that's been designed into this strap. There are two clasps right here, buckles, if you will, that you can just unsnap. And this needs to come around this shoulder and back up to here. So let me just shove this up through the crook in John's elbow. Then back over his shoulder. Just be taking great care to make sure that the buckles are facing the proper direction. Bring that around. Just make sure it's not twisted, and then reattach the clasp. And if you have to do this, I recommend needle nose pliers. Okay, so we've got the strap back on now. Looking good. Now we gotta futz with this again, get his head back down, try to bring this up in a way that simulates realism. Get that arm up. Get that arm up, Wick. All right, but notice how by pushing this elbow joint forward, the gun kind of naturally raises up closer to John's cheek. I just really want this to be as close to perfect as I can get it, for my own reasons as well as, for you guys. The stock is back here up against his shoulder like it should be. He's pretty close to looking right down that sight. My memory of John Wick is that he's constantly in motion. He's not just standing there doing target practice. He's constantly moving. He's crouched, he's semi-crouched, and he's kind of being evasive at the same time. I'm just gonna experiment with different body postures here. See what works best. But I don't like it. It just looks too straightforward. So I just want to have him kind of doing like a sidestep, like he's just stepped out from behind a corner and is taking aim. And I think that works a lot better. He's stepped out of cover and he's sighting in on a group of advancing enemies. And that is a fairly basic, close approximation of a pose with the AR-15. Let's slap the magazine in. Note that I've got him, it doesn't look like he's looking at me when I look down the gun at him. It does look like he's looking slightly down, but that works because it looks like he's looking into the sight, which is what he'd be doing. He wants to see that magnified image of what he's aiming at, not the enemy itself. Boom. Literally, boom. The heroic archetypes embodied by John Wick are numerous. Lone gunman, Ronin, demigod. You'd be hard-pressed to find one he doesn't personify. The extreme posability of this figure means he'll be able to represent the character in whichever way you choose.
Hey, did you like that video? Be sure to subscribe by clicking the S icon on your screen and click that bell icon to be notified whenever a new video is posted. If you'd like more info on the items featured in this video, click the link provided under Product Info. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to let your geek side show.